I'm incredibly grateful for her making a very powerful speech, and I support this bill wholeheartedly. She's also right to point children as the victims here. In my role before I came into this house as a doctor, as a GP, you used to see the impact of what domestic abuse did to children, not only when they were young, but throughout their lifetime. And isn't this the real key? We need to make sure we clamp down on domestic abuse so that this doesn't have that long-standing impact for the rest of someone's life.
I thank the member for his incredibly good intervention, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I absolutely agree with his points made.
Fantastic start to her speech, and isn't this exactly the point of why we need this bill in? Because it circumvents and protects those victims of confirmed domestic violence to not have to go through that heartache, not have to go through that stress, not have to front up against difficult perpetrators of domestic violence, to make sure they have the stability and safety for them and their family that they are now supporting.
And I thank my honourable friend for his intervention. I do indeed agree with him. It is really harrowing what we hear.
Clearly it's an important point that if those are being charged are the system has to be funded, but we need to have the right level of evidence put in for those who are convicted of domestic abuse. So does the member have an idea of how the government might be able to work that through to say that those who are fully convicted, therefore the victim does not have to pay those charges? That might be a nice solution to be able to allow this removal of fees for those victims to go ahead.
My honourable friend makes a very important point. Obviously, evidence has to underpin this service to make it fair. But where there is that clear evidence, and that evidence can be looked at and assessed, then in those instances it seems absolutely only right that the parent can use the collect and case service and not be financially penalised in any way.
That training in this area has been considerably improved to ensure greater awareness in recent times. I will give way.
I'm very grateful. Training is indeed very important. We've talked a lot about the victims of domestic abuse, but the CMS might be one of the places where you actually pick up on domestic violence and domestic abuse that for the first presentation. So is training going on to make sure that we actually pick up those cases when they are coming forward?
So he asked a very good question, actually, and that is a point that I am keen to take away and obtain an answer for him on. He'll appreciate that I'm only a few hours into the role, and that is quite an involved question. But of course, actually, there is a really important issue in the point that he raises. So let me make sure that he receives a full response on that point following this debate this afternoon.